This is Fred Ricciani of TSC News. I'm here to do a rapid recap of UFC Pittsburgh Rockhold versus David Branch. I did not get a chance to see the whole card because this actually took place on the same night as Canelo versus GGG, which was a phenomenal boxing matchup marred by a terrible decision. If you want to find out what happened, feel free to browse around this channel or visit thesportsquery.com for all the results. But man, the judge's decision was brutal. The finish of Branch versus Rockhold was brutal, but thankfully in a gloriously MMA way and not when it came to the judges. You see, David Branch came out strong. He won 2 titles in 2 different weight classes in World Series of Fighting. He's been a standout fighter outside of the UFC for years. I remember watching him in some indies in New Jersey when I first started my career covering fights. And he's always been a good fighter, but a guy that's not very exciting, kind of boring actually. And in this fight, surprisingly, he was the aggressor here. He was looking good standing. He hit Luke Rockhold with some good shots. He won round 1, although at the end of the round, he did get taken down by Luke Rockhold. And for those that have seen Rockhold's fights, including Weidman and Rockhold, you know when Rockhold gets your back or on top of you, whew, it is over. So, unfortunately for David Branch, Rockhold got him down in round number 2. Branch tried to get out of it, gave him his back. Ref was telling him, hey, David, you gotta do something, but he couldn't. And I don't blame David Branch. I mean, when Luke Rockhold is on you, he is on you. But unfortunately for David Branch, this was, well, the biggest fight of David Branch's career by far, the biggest test of his career by far. And unfortunately, he did not pass it. Luke Rockhold, on the other hand, demolished him, rained down punches, finished him via TKO, stared him down afterwards, which was kind of weird. You'd think he'd be maybe a little more humble after the Bisping fight, but you know what? It's personalities that sell these fights, not just great performances, and he had a great performance. He showed great personality. He stared down David Branch. After the fight, he called out GSP, said he wants his belt back, said, GSP, you better get out while you still can. You don't belong here. Didn't even mention Bisping, I think. He didn't mention something about November and being ready, so maybe in the back of his mind, he's thinking that Bisping pulls out of the fight, which I'd find preposterous if Bisping did it unless he really has to. Maybe GSP gets hurt and has to pull out of the fight. You never know. Stranger things have happened in the UFC. Look at John Jones failing a drug test for like the 2nd time. Look at everything that's happened with Shevchenko and Nunes, and how that fight was originally booked for UFC 200 and then had to be rescheduled, and then the very close decision. There's been just some weird MMA stuff. Ray Borg and Demetrius Johnson. Stranger things have happened, meaning you never know. Rockhold didn't take a whole lot of damage here. He looked good at the end. He marketed himself well. God forbid GSP versus Bisping falls through and UFC needs a backup plan for that middleweight title fight. They got one right now in Luke Rockhold. As for the other fights, unfortunately, I did not get a chance to watch this card as closely as I wanted to because, again, I was watching GGG versus Golovkin. But just to give you guys the quick results, this was a way more action-packed card and better than the last UFC pay-per-view we had. Yeah, the free card, if you have cable, was better than the pay-per-view card that I had ordered the other week. Life's not fair sometimes. When Mike Perry knocked out Alex Reyes with a knee in round number 1, that was badass. Anthony Smith TKO'd Hector Lombard. We had Gregor Gillespie defeat Jason Gonzalez via arm triangle choke submission. We had Kamaru Usman defeat Sergio Moraes via knockout. Some vicious punches in round number 1. I told you guys there were a whole lot of finishes on this show. It was nuts. We had Justin Ledet defeat Azuna Anyanwu via split decision. Via split decision. We had Olivier Aubin-Mercier defeat Tony Martin via split decision on the prelims. Daniel Spitz defeated Anthony Hamilton via TKO in round number 1, just 24 seconds. We had Uriah Hall defeat Krzysztof Jotko via TKO. Nice comeback victory for him. And we had Gilbert Burns defeat Justin Sego via knockout punch. Again, I got to catch some of these prelims that I missed, but when my buddy Eugene was watching it, keeping score for us, and he told me, yeah, this was definitely better than the pay-per-view we ordered last week, which, again, life's not fair, but at least the pay-per-view I ordered this week, which was Canelo and Golovkin, delivered, minus the absolutely dreadful, Horrible, ridiculous decision. Ugh. Again, life's not fair sometimes. But anyway, I thought Rockhold looked good. I thought he marketed himself well, and he is in prime position for a title shot. Maybe he faces Yoel Romero next. Maybe when Robert Whittaker eventually comes back, he'll fight Rockhold, and the winner of that fight fights the winner of GSP and Bisping. We'll see what happens. But folks, I want to hear from you. What did you think about UFC Pittsburgh? Do you think Rockhold should fight for the title next? Let me know. Leave a comment below. Tweet us, Facebook us. Do what you got to do. If you enjoyed this video, please click that like button. Please share this with all your friends. Please visit our official site, thesportsquarter.com. Please click that subscribe button because we have MMA updates every freaking day. We just had an update on John Jones and the Daniel Cormier situation. That is a messy one. If you browse around too, you'll see we have a ton of MMA interviews with your favorite stars, including Junior Dos Santos, John Bones Jones, Chael Sonnen, Ryan Bader. The list goes on and on. So I'm going to get out of here. It's been a long night of kick-ass fights. Until next time, everybody, as always, enjoy the matches.